Hey, All Stars, what's up? So happy you could join us for this episode, and even more excited to announce our first corporate affiliate partnership with a company called Anytime Mailbox. Even though it's 2022 and you would think everything is digital now, let me tell you, as a father of 3 kids in 3 different states, I get hammered by snail mail every single day. Anytime Mailbox is a virtual mail assistant that comes in an app form and has been a godsend for me. For a few $100 a year, you could also have the same peace of mind while you're traveling if you go to skiptownallstars.com/anytime. That's skiptownallstars.com/anytime. And I am so psyched to have the Anytime Mailbox Vice President of Operations and Sales, Nathalie Shroeder, on the show today. We're going to talk about her service and so much more because she's also a Skiptown listener, a fellow empty nester, a family friend, and an all-around awesome lady. Without further ado, Nathalie Shroeder. Enjoy the show.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to sell everything and travel the country at the tender age of 50? Well, with our last kid off to college and the ability to now work remotely, we've decided to do just that. So we're selling the house, loading up the dog, and hitting every city from California to Florida. We're scouring the country for a new place to call home and dragging you into every restaurant, Airbnb, and tourist trap we encounter along the way. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast.
Hey guys, what's up? It's James. I am here with Nathalie Shroeder from Anytime Mailbox for a very special bonus episode today. This is a service that I use, and one of the reasons I use it is because one of Ellie's friends, Lola, has a mom named Nathalie who's with us today who works for Anytime Mailbox, and the connection was simple. We're going to go into all that in a minute, but first I want to ask and thank Nathalie. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Thanks. I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be on your podcast. I've been following your podcast. It's really great. I really like watching your journey. You've done a really good job. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Today's a little rough. Denise was actually going to run this Zoom so she could just ask the questions fresh. I kind of know already the answers, some of the answers, but I want the listeners to enjoy the benefit of everything you have to offer. Unfortunately, Denise can't run this podcast today because our little minivan had a radiator that exploded about an hour ago. So,
oh no.
Yeah. Fortunately, we paid for the insurance and all that, but she's dealing with that right now as we speak. She had to wait for the tow truck. She just wanted to do a simple little yoga class today. And she drew the short straw. She was in it when it happened. So she's dealing with it now, unfortunately. So anyway, she sends her regards.
Yes.
So, but first I want to get into, you're in a similar boat that we were in. You are also an empty nester, correct?
I am an empty nester. It's been a very challenging month plus. I think we're almost to the month plus now, where I think I cried weeks leading up to it. And then during the whole drop off weekend, I couldn't stop the tears coming out of my eyes. It was really embarrassing because it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And then, I came home and I cried for another week. Little triggers around the house. I slept in her bed a few nights.
Wow, little triggers. Those are big. Those sound like big triggers. So what, Lola went to, Lola graduated with Ellie.
Yes.
And she's off to, where's she going to school? In San Diego somewhere, I think, right?
She's at SDSU, San Diego State.
Nice.
Yep.
That's right. She's in tech. That's awesome.
She is an Aztec. They have a brand new stadium this year. It's pretty exciting. She's actually roommates with an SDSU cheerleader. So it's been a really positive experience. The school is great. I always say the school, what I feel like coming from a little tiny all girls school, SDSU felt like the smallest big school. Like they're really involved. So I'm happy as a parent that she's there. It's an adjustment. I can say, she's my only child. We're both, struggling a little bit, but we're getting there, and I feel happier every day and she feels happier every day. So
that's good. Yeah, it's a tough spot because you want to see them grow, but you don't want to see them grow. So I remember you had a post after you got her all settled in that you were very sad, and I commented on that. I think a little prematurely. I'm not sure if our episode was out yet, where we discussed Denise not crying when we drop off our kids. But you know, I'm the one who gets misty eyed in the family, so it's a different role, I guess. But yeah, I can totally sympathize with you. In fact, we just saw Ellie this past weekend. She made the travel team for Seattle U.
Yay!
Yeah, it's huge. She's not seeing any playing time yet. It's a bit of a struggle for her because now she's like low man on the totem pole. So she struggled a little bit with that. She's working hard though. It's just that
it's all good life lessons for her and for our kids. You know, I'm really seeing the growth in Lola just being gone for a few weeks. I'm sure Ellie's had a lot of growth.
Yeah.
By the way, Ellie is literally my favorite. She is such a joy. She's such a good person. You guys have done all three of your girls, but Ellie is the one I know, and I've always been the biggest Ellie fan. So
that's very sweet.
Really,
and, you know,
really excited to watch her process.
And, you know, I don't know Lola very well personally, but Denise and Ellie can reciprocate those emotions back in your direction. It was a really positive environment they had for the last 4 years. Like you mentioned, a small all girls school, but man, you know, one of their classmates, Georgia Kreischer, went to visit Ellie just the other day. And one of the other upperclassmen from their little high school, Grace Luderer, went to pick her up at the airport. Like they're 3 years removed, maybe a year removed or whatever, but just, you know, never hung out with each other in high school, but just that familiarity and that bond. And what I love about the Louisville girls are they're all sort of in it together till the end. That's a great vibe. So.
Yep. All those girls are awesome. I'm a big fan of both Georgia and Grace. So she's surrounding herself with some really good people. So that makes me really happy.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. Well, I'm happy to know that you are recovering from college drop off, as am I. But you know, it was still a little difficult saying goodbye again. I actually had a harder time. Denise will tell you, we'll talk about it. I had a harder time saying goodbye in Louisville than I had in Seattle. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I wasn't chasing a dog down sidewalks in the middle of a city. Roxy was at a little 6-day spa retreat. And so I didn't have to deal with the dog, and I actually had time to like focus on like hugging Ellie goodbye rather than just like trying to go chase the dog down. But you know, I'm recovering as well back in Corpus Christi. It certainly helped to see Parker. But before we get into what you do all day, every day, I'm not the only one who sort of figured out a new way to navigate things during the pandemic. You also, if I'm not mistaken, have developed some sort of side hustle for yourself. Tell me about that.
So I am a super creative person. I don't know. I'm really good at the right brain and the left. I think I do a really good job at both sides of my brain. So, you know, doing Anytime Mailbox really key is I'm super organized, but I also am a super creative person. So I was a rave DJ, house DJ.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot about that. You mentioned it. So
since 1992.
Let's talk about that for a second. So rave DJ, Silicon Valley. Yeah. There's a little bit of creativity there.
So I've always been, creative side. So I actually DJ'd a few things already this year, but I was a predominantly professional DJ from like 92 till about 2005. I had Lola in 2004.
Okay.
And I was traveling all over the world. I started in Salt Lake. I grew up in Salt Lake.
Okay.
Originally from Thailand, grew up in Salt Lake. And then I started DJing there. Yes. And I was just there for a 30-year reunion. Oh, nice. And then I moved to Portland and was DJing there. I was one of the very first women DJs. Wow. And I would travel to Seattle a lot and Vancouver. I know you guys just went to Vancouver, and I have to say, Vancouver is probably my very favorite place. I used to go DJ there all the time.
It was
It's
pretty,
the most beautiful
Denise,
city.
Denise doesn't want city, but I really enjoyed how every single neighborhood had like 20 coffee shops and, so many, little restaurants, dry cleaner, all that other stuff. It's I know she doesn't want to live in a high rise apartment building, but dang, Vancouver makes it look snazzy.
I know. It's awesome. It's so beautiful. And the people in Canada, Canadians are just really nice.
They really
enjoyed, So I DJ'd a lot in Canada. And then from there, I moved to Silicon Valley and I started DJing, in San Jose and San Francisco. And then I moved to LA to focus on DJing. And then and also the tech world. So I've done side hustles my whole life. I'm a very busy person. I don't know how to be still, but I have to have a creative thing happening. So anyway, long story short, I'm DJ Daisy. I still only play vinyl. I play house music.
Wow.
I never went digital. I don't know how to do it.
You're an OG.
So I have my 30-year-old Technique turntables, and I have, thousands and thousands and thousands of records, which are, I've been actually playing quite a bit this year. Now that Lola's gone, maybe I'll do more of that. I don't know. It really does bring me joy. So over the course of having Lola, I just couldn't keep living that lifestyle, because a lot of times I would play at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Right. And having a newborn baby, you just can't, that's just not a lifestyle. It just doesn't jive. Right. So I retired from that, and I will go and play things here and there, but I always wanted to keep busy. So, so I started a jewelry company randomly. I just kind of taught myself how to do it.
Okay.
Back in, I think I'm on year 6 now. So this is pre-pandemic.
Oh, okay. So it was pre-pandemic.
It's pre-pandemic. And I just started going to gem shows, and Jason's my husband. His grandma used to live in Arizona and had a bunch of she did like the findings and things for jewelry. And so she had given me some stuff. It just kind of inspired me to hey, this is kind of fun. I have a teenage daughter. Teenage girls love jewelry. I needed something that I could do to keep that creative side of my brain going, right? Yeah. I'm also a really good cook. I do a lot of cooking, but cooking and making money it's too hard. I thought about opening a food truck once, and I'm like, there's just no way I can sustain that. Right. So you can make jewelry, you can sit there, you can sell it a year later. It doesn't matter. It doesn't go bad. It's not like your bread that goes bad in 5 days, right? Totally. So yeah, I started pre-pandemic. I was able to get my name out there. And during the pandemic, I reached out to your daughter and her friend Shay. And I said, can we do a photo shoot? And so I took the girls up to Franklin Canyon, and we had a really nice day.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And then they were, front and center on my website. And, Ellie has always been a huge supporter of my jewelry. She's one of my top ambassadors. She wears my jewelry, and I have, her whole group of friends, Sarah and Shay and all those girls. Yeah. They do a really good job, wearing them. I also test my jewelry. Like, I have a teenage daughter. Those girls do not know how to take care of jewelry. No. They literally wear them in the pool, in the shower. I'm like, girls, it's not like, it's not like you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to take it off before you go in the shower and those things, unless it's like, 24 karat gold or, a really fancy piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, my pocket is to sell to girls, give them something that's like, good. Yeah. But affordable, because who wants to spend $100 on something that, they don't have $100. So my price point is average around 35, 25 to 35. But I also use 14 karat gold filled, which is a better gold that lasts longer. That's kind of closer to real gold that doesn't tarnish. Yeah. And I always put it on the girls. I'm like, hey, can you wear this? Does it tarnish? I will pull it off my line. Does it break? So your daughter, my daughter, and those girls were all kind of like my guinea pigs of, what works, what doesn't work as well. And they would actually tell me, hey, can you put this on your line? Hey, can you do these? So those girls really have helped me. The Louisville girls are such big supporters of my jewelry business. And it really brings me joy for their moms and for them when I walk into a party or in a room and they're all wearing my stuff.
That's awesome.
Makes me feel so good. Like,
yeah.
And your wife is such a big supporter. And Mia loves my jewelry. Mia, I always see Mia wearing my jewelry. It's pretty awesome. So yes, I've been doing that. During the pandemic, I just had to build a website, which I used to build websites. It's not fun.
No, it's a grind. I mean, I'm using a template for ours right now, and it's still a grind. It's like, I wish there were certain functionality, like there's functionality where I'm like I took coding classes. That was going to be my side hustle until we left LA. And then the pandemic hit and I could work from home, which I had never been able to do as an editor before. And so to your point, it's like I know enough about coding to be dangerous. And when I'm working with some of these templates, I'm like, I know there's a better way to factually, there's a better way to do some of this stuff, but at the same time, I bought the template. I'm like, it's up there. It's a workaround on a couple of things. Like every time I have to put a new episode up, it's like a 5-step process on my website. And I'm like, I know I could just be, paying somebody or something, but we're not there yet. I mean, I'm like, we're doing a podcast. So it's like people want to see us on YouTube. They want to see us on social media and they want to hear the podcast on Spotify or Apple or whatever. So very little traffic goes through our website for what we're trying to do. So it's just, I can't justify the cost of building a real site at this point. So
I think what people don't realize is when you have a side hustle or a small business, you're doing everything. You are the accountant. I make everything. I am the website person. I am the shipper. There's a lot of things that go into it, not just, hey, I'm, making the jewelry and selling it. There's like so many things in the background.
You have to be an SEO expert.
Yes.
If you want to get your jewelry out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh. SEO, like seriously, it's just such a tangled knot.
Oh, and I don't think you've ever seen my setup before, but I have a lot of inventory and trying to get people like, how come everything's not on your website? And I'm like, are you kidding me? To try to photograph and upload everything is so tiring. So I did get a lot of it done during COVID, but then you go have a show and you're like, oh my gosh, I think I sold that or I did that. So now I have to take it off. So it's all this whole inventory thing that's happening. But I think the one point around the jewelry that has brought me a lot of joy is that I tend to do school events and charities.
Yeah.
I'm not in the jewelry business to make a bunch of money. I'm in the jewelry business to give back. And so I've given back thousands of dollars every year to charities. I'm part of the American Heart Association, the Children's Tumor Foundation. I do a lot of charity work. Even at high school, I give the money, 20% goes back to Louisville into their fund for whatever they need for the school. I do Notre Dame and their Mothers Guild event. And that specific amount of money goes to a fund where if a student loses their parent during the year, then that money goes towards that. So I love doing I'm not rich. I don't, I work hard, but the fact that I can do something good and do something that I love and keep my brain, creative side brain going and doing something like this makes me really happy. And then to see the joy in being with people, like my friend's mom just passed away. I sent her, I specialize in a lot of gemstones that have like meaning. So I sent her this bracelet about grief and it's just acts of kindness, and to be able to be part of that makes me really happy. It really fulfills me. I know it's totally corny and silly,
no,
but
not at all. I mean, it's like, on Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy, you're like approaching the top, like, I like it.
So that's kind of what drives me. Have I, made money yet? Not really, but have I broken even and to be able to pay for it? Yes. And that's really what I care about. I care about just being part of these organizations, I love interacting with people. I love talking to people, meeting, people that come up to me and tell me their stories about some certain gemstone and how they needed this. Or I have a lot of people who say, I need a gift for this person. They'll send me a picture of their friend. I'm really good at figuring out what they wear. And then we send them a special present. That stuff is awesome. That stuff makes me feel really good. Even like, I do these blind boxes and Denise is like, let's get one for Mia. So I had a lot of fun because I kind of scrolled through Mia's, Instagram, and I'm like, this is what she wears. This is what I think would look really cute on her. And then I put together a really cool box of things that I thought she would really, and she did. She really liked it.
Of course, yeah.
That brings me joy. Like just being like the thought that goes behind it. I don't think people really realize the thought process through it. Right. It's not like I'm just schlepping to sell it. There's a real thought process behind this little side hustle that fulfills me personally.
Right. Well, okay.
And it's kept me busy.
I was going to say, like, when do you sleep? My Lord, we still have to talk about Anytime Mailbox. But before we get into that, tell me where people can find you on Instagram and your designs. Do you have a website? What's going on?
I do. It's Nathalie B with an H, Nathale designs.com. That's my website. And Nathalie B Designs on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can just, type me in that way. I follow you. They can go to your page and find me through you guys as well. I ship free in the US. I try to build it into my pricing, and, you can send me a DM. We can do a special order for the holidays are coming, and happy to help you there as well.
Very cool. We will get our social media lady on it as soon as she's done repairing the radiator in the van. But I want to move on to the thrust of this entire podcast, which is Nathalie Shroeder is with us because I have had the benefit of using the service that Nathalie recommended and works for, Anytime Mailbox, at my disposal for the last several months. It has allowed me to not only keep my business footprint in the state of California, but also actually keep up on documents. There are a variety of services that Anytime Mailbox provides, including tossing junk mail, scanning, forwarding, all kinds of things. And, for what I personally have to deal with, there's nothing so, I'm not Dick Cheney. I'm not shredding documents in the White House. There's nothing that's coming into my mailbox that I can't have some attendant at my virtual address handle for me. So I've really appreciated the service. And I want you, Nathalie, please, to not only set up what it is you do, what Anytime Mailbox does, but let's also get into the history a little bit about how this company came to be, because I know there's like a decades-long story there.
There is a decade-long story. So I've been in the startup tech world my whole career. Oh my gosh, I was in Silicon Valley at the right time back in, 1995, 94, 95. And I started working for this company who was beta testing DSL. And so I was able to actually help, get the DSL installed, because back then you had to have like the phone company and then the DSL company and then the customer, and you had to go, it's a hot mess doing DSL over copper. Long story short, I had this awesome vendor in San Francisco, and my contact was Matt Going, who is currently our CEO of Anytime Mailbox. And when I moved to LA after the Bay Area, I worked for a company called Zion, which was one of the first DSL companies in Los Angeles. Okay. And Marcel is our CTO. And so I've been working with Marcel actually at 3 different companies, and I've worked with Matt at 2 different companies. So I've known these guys since 1995. We all worked together at another company pre-Anytime Mailbox. And then they decided the need for Anytime Mailbox and started the company in 2013. And in 2017, they said, hey, come work for us. We really need you to run operations for us. Because I specialize in customer service and operations. I know how to run big teams of people. So I joined them in 2017 or 18. I don't remember. It's almost 5 years now. And we, we're thriving. We're doing a great job. There's, 4 executives who run the business. It's me, it's them. And then we have a great VP of marketing who had joined us a couple of years after I started. So it's 4 people. We're all friends. We all get along. We just do, we're just doers. There's no red tape. There's no nothing. It's awesome. We have a great group of people who work for us all over. We've been remote since day one. So Marcel lives in Singapore. Matt lives here in Los Angeles. I live in LA. And Richard lives in San Diego. And our staff is all over the world. And so I literally spend my day on Zoom calls just like this. Yesterday, I was on from 6 a.m. to almost 8 p.m. last night. So wow. A lot of people, they're like, what do you do? And it's really hard to explain because virtual mailbox is a newer thing, but it's something that's going to be around for a long time. It's a product that's not going to go anywhere. It's a product that was missing in just our day-to-day lives. And not a lot of people really understand it still. So I'm really glad that you have me on here to really explain what a virtual mailbox is. So is that a good background
That's absolutely a good background.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously a great factoid that you guys are walking the walk since day one when it comes to working virtually. The fact that, 4 of you are in 3 different spots.
Yep.
And so it sounds like things are sort of really centralized between the 4 of you. I mean, is it a big full-time staff? Do you just have a network? Like do you want to speak to those sort of operations a little bit?
Yeah, we have a full-time staff of almost 80 plus people. Okay. The 3/4 of that actually are my team. I run operations, customer service, I run sales, and I also run the HR team. So I have a pretty big piece of that. And I think right. I'm really good at organizing things. That's just kind of, that's my secret power is being right. able to get through and doing those things. And so, yeah, they're all full-time. A lot of them are in Asia, all over Asia. And, they all work really hard. And I have to say, I always say this about my staff, but I have a really, really good staff. I interview every single person wow. that comes into our company and make sure that they're the right fit, that they do a good job and they have all the qualifications, but if they're a fit for our culture. Like I'm really a big fan. Working in tech for so many years, especially in Silicon Valley, yeah, there's a really cool culture there. We had happy hours, we had people are friends, they're doing things outside of the company. We brought lunches in, we've had to really shift on a remote level of like what we can do because we're not in an office anymore. Right. So, we have Zoom happy hours. We have, we try to be very creative. We're playing we have a house cup where we're all playing trivia games together. Wow. We're doing really innovative things as a remote company, but you're really trying to keep the staff and everybody engaged in a culture that's pretty a fun place to work. So I'm a big fan of just making feel like they're part of the family versus this is my job and I'm going to log in and log out. Our staff really cares about our customers. We care about our product. We stand behind our product. Right. And I strive to give the best customer service in the industry. And we do. We're really well known. If you read reviews online, they're mostly great. There's always people who are, frustrated with something or another. But, sure. We always reach out. We read their reviews. We reach out to them. We talk to them. We try to make whatever it is, right.
Somebody's listening.
Right. So somebody is always listening. I have specific people who make sure that they're on top of all of that stuff. Yeah. So, and that's important today, in today's world, social media, you can't You can't hide behind things anymore.
No,
You
it's
have
hard
to
to fake the funk when somebody's coming from every direction. It's like, I've learned to, I got to say, just even in booking hotels, there was a hotel we booked in Santa Fe, and there were a couple of bad ratings, like 1 stars, a bunch of 5s and 4s. And I went to read the bad ones, and it was kind of like, well, the hotel didn't tell us ahead of time that we couldn't park a horse trailer in the parking lot and stuff like that. It's like, once you read it, you're like, okay, bro, like seriously. Like, I was like, Denise, I think we're going to be good at this place. We don't have a horse trailer and they allow dogs. So, whatever this.
Yeah, you just have to take it. Grain of salt. You have to read the fine print and say, what is it that they're upset about?
For sure. Well, so you speak to actually a culture. It's funny you mentioned, sort of, I remember, and I know it still goes on in Silicon Valley, the culture of sort of, ping pong tables and bowling alleys and all these things you could find, on some lower level of the office somewhere, and all these sort of things. And I remember in the mid 2000s, it seemed like I worked for a handful of production companies in television that were trying to mimic that model. And it was always a sense like, oh, this is pretty cool. But by day like 5 or 7 or 12, you're kind of like, I would be fine without the pool table if it meant I could go home at a reasonable hour, And
yes.
So culturally, obviously, especially since the pandemic, I'm assuming that you guys have picked up speed a little bit. But tell me about, sort of societally, like you've been around for a while, like what's the big change? When did you notice it? What's the same in terms of sort of employee attitudes?
Well, people are very grateful. And I actually interview a lot of people looking for jobs now, because now the pandemic is kind of ending. Yeah. Well, ending. A lot of people are making their employees go back to the office, and they don't want to go back to the office. So they're looking for new jobs. And so the fact that we've always been remote has been awesome. So I'm able to find quality people because it's a remote job. And a lot of my employees, like, they'll travel somewhere. I'm like, I don't care where you work. Just show up for your shift. If you're like in some, beach area or whatever, and you're showing up, I don't care. I have one employee who actually is been a digital nomad. They redid their van, and they've been living on the road for 4 years.
Wow. Holy cow.
And I'll do a Zoom call with her, and she's like in National Yellowstone, she's got a beautiful background going, and it's okay. You can work anywhere. And as long as you're showing up for your shift, awesome. Good. I'm good with that. Sorry, I got distracted with thinking about that. So,
good. I mean, it's a perfect example. I mean, for me, it's a little, I don't know if I would want to live out of a van that long, but Denise and I have sort of, we're doing the road trip now. Right. But we still haven't purchased a house because we still we don't know exactly where we want to live. It's great to know that my business stuff is being handled by you guys in California. So all of my taxes, any sort of payroll, all that stuff is totally like fine. I don't know if I could do 4 years in a van, but I could definitely see us doing a month here, a couple months there at an Airbnb or something like that, or just a short-term rental for a handful of years. Probably. And so that's kind of, you're the woman who works for you is sort of inspiring on that level.
Yeah. And I also think the pandemic, there are definitely companies that got value, that grew. We did grow. We did grow during the pandemic, because the way that post office boxes work is you have a key, right? And you get a post office, you have to drive, you put the key in, you open up your mail, and you leave. To even go into a post office, I remember not even wanting to walk in there during a whole year. I was at my house, didn't leave my house for a year plus. So the fact that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine my mail having to go to a post office, putting a key in and breathing the air, and we just didn't know.
Yeah. Well,
So
I
yes.
mean, so in fairness to, and I kind of I've said this a few times, but it's like the thing that I think a lot of people forget is LA has 11 million people. It's more like the city itself is larger than so many states.
Yes.
And so, for us to say, oh, we're afraid to walk into the mailbox, we're not talking like the 4,000 residents of our 100 square mile city, township. So when we say that, it's like to get to our post office, we're driving past refrigerated trucks at hospitals where, where people who did not make the turn on COVID are, sort of being situated. And so, the fear was palpable in the larger cities. I mean, and for good reason. So your point about not wanting to go in there and breathe the air is right, spot on. We were so good during that time frame as well.
Yeah, it was, I was wiping my groceries down. We just didn't know, right? We just really didn't know. So yes, our company, we definitely got a lot more renters because having a virtual mailbox, first of all, the way that the world is going is everybody wants, their phone. Everything should come to their phone. That's how everything is now, right? And so the fact that the way that virtual mailbox works is you sign up, you go to our website or you go into one of our partners' websites, you sign up and you find out, what city you want to be in. It's a really easy sign up. Right. And, for you, you're like, oh, I really wanted a really easy street name. I didn't want something crazy. You gave me some variables that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
You also wanted, I said, well, do you want to pick up often? Do you want to, what are the things that are important to you? Right. We partner with over 1,600 operators worldwide. So
yeah, I was overwhelmed when I looked. I was like, I was just looking for a place in LA and like 200 spots popped up. I was like, are you kidding me? And so then, I mean, to your point, I could be a little more discerning. It's like, I spend, when I spend time on the phone, it's like, I have to so we used to live on Jellicoe Avenue and it's like Jellicoe, that's not a familiar word to too many people. So it's like, any street where I had to spell it over and over and over again had grown tiresome to me at this point, And so that was, I remember now that you bring it up, I had totally forgotten about that, but that was one of my criteria. It was like, I just need a street name that's one word, 2 words, easy to remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the way that Anytime Mailbox work is we're actually a software company. We built the software and then we partner, we go out and we contact these operating partners. We like mailbox stores, co-working spaces, anybody that wants to offer virtual mailbox. A lot of these mailbox stores only can have a certain amount of mailboxes, right? So, once the mailboxes are all leased out, there's no more revenue to be made, right? So virtual mailbox is nice because they don't actually have to have a space in their store. They can sell to hundreds and hundreds of virtual mailbox renters. Right. So we built the software. We go out and we find operating partners that go through a whole vetting system that, we think they're going to do a good job for us. USPS guidelines are very strict, very, very strict, right? And they have to go in, they have to apply with the USPS, fill out a form, get verified with them before they can even become a virtual mailbox provider, right? So we're vetting them out at the beginning. They do the whole thing. USPS actually will come in and do spot checks at certain locations to make sure that the forms are filled out. I mean, it's taken very seriously. The US is very serious about mail. And on top of that, when you sign up for a mailbox, you as an individual have to become notarized. You have to notarize a special form with the USPS to verify your identity because, you don't want, anybody can sign up for a mailbox.
No, yeah, for sure.
Send things in the mail that shouldn't be sent in the mail and whatever. So there's definitely that part of it to get through the first part of it. You fill out the form, you fill out whatever operator you want to sign up with. Yeah. And then I think you went through the online notary that we partner with, correct?
We did, yeah. It was super smooth. We were in the middle of selling our house at the time. And frankly, I was a little surprised just, sort of going through escrow and all that, so many of those forms were being done online. I really thought that, there was a point where, there were a few documents our real estate agent brought over to us, but it's no big deal. So when I saw that your service offered something similar, and just knowing the ease of, like, I have to fill a pod, I have a kid graduating, I'm working 2 shows right now, I don't want to go to find a notary. And so it was the simplest thing on earth for me. It was like bang, bang, done, it was
like under 10 minutes, right? I think I timed it. Yeah. So, you go through our portal. We actually pre-fill out the form for you mostly. Yeah. And then, you upload, I believe there's like 2 forms of ID. One is your passport or driver's license. And then like the other piece of ID, like a lease or, there's a whole list of things. And then all of a sudden you click the button and the notarized person comes on. Yeah. They walk you through it and it's like, you're done. It gets sent to my team. My team goes through the process and then it gets sent over to our operating partner and you're set up and you're done. And then they can open the mail on your behalf now. Yeah. Which is really exciting to be able to have that part done. So it's really important to go through that notarized part so they can open the mail. If you didn't go through the notarized part, they can't open your mail. They legally can't. They have to send it back. Sure, it's an identity issue. So they have to send it back, like return to sender. So that's the biggest piece is people don't understand the whole notarized thing. It's for your protection and for their protection. And it's following the guidelines for the United States Postal Service. So I know that you had shared with me a story about Parker's insurance that I was like, this is an awesome story. Can you share that with me about the piece of mail that came in that you had opened and scanned and about her insurance expiring?
Let me try and remember that. So there was a piece of mail that came in, her insurance was expiring. And this is actually recently, her dental insurance and so she's still on my health care per the ACA guidelines. She's allowed to be on my health care through the age of 26. So for the next 4 years, something happens, she can go in. But the problem is now that, and especially she has a job, her own job, the requirement through my health care is that once they graduate college, they can't be on dental or they can't go see an optometrist anymore. So eyes and dental are off the list. So
good to know.
Had it not been for being able to scan that document, I would not have been able to tell her, hey, you only got a week left to go get your teeth cleaned for free. And so that was like, she's like, oh, I'm going to schedule the appointment right away. So the scan process, frankly, I think I'm running up a little bit of a tab just because I'm new. And, with 3 kids in 3 different cities, I'm getting back, Ellie had a sty beginning of volleyball camp. So she had to go. And it's like, I get these notifications that these are your statements from your insurance company. So I'm sort of over scanning at the moment. I think I could probably just recycle more of those than I am, but it's fine knowing that it's like a really incremental charge to just like be able to put eyes on it myself. Like the peace of mind to know that I was able to tell my kid, hey, you need to get your dental situation done by the end of August, while I'm like, pulling up to a campsite in Zion was that was pretty badass, I must say. So, that's sort of, it's weird. It's like the kids are grown, but we're still running, like Denise and I are still running different facets of the family, depending on, where that category is. And I agree. To be able to, healthcare is always like, it's my insurance, it's my name on all the forms. So for the most part, I'm the one that has to deal with that. And it's really nice, especially, if we're getting, what I don't want is one of my kids to get some sort of past due notice for a $40 copay or something that then goes to collections.
Yeah.
Yeah. the benefits for us being scattered all over the country are, numerous and, vast at this point, even in this early stage of me having my mailbox. So
I think the other thing that I like about our service, I'm actually a customer. I've been using the service now for the whole time I've been with Anytime Mailbox. So I do a little side hustle. We can talk about that later if you want, but I do a little side hustle. And what I like is when I open and scan, I can go back and look at the archive. So like, when you're doing mail at home, and I just went through a pile of mail at my house, papers get everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, where is that piece of mail? Because I opened and scanned it with Anytime Mailbox, I can go back to my completed tab and it shows me everything. And it's, as long as you're, a paying customer, it's going to be there forever. Right. And so if you lose a piece of something or you have to go back, you can find it and then print it or forward it or whatever you need to do. So I don't know about you when you were at home. I'm sure you had a bunch of paperwork and trying to find stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's the stuff we threw away. It's so insane.
Yeah.
Like I had records of contracts and deal memos from like 2012 in my hutch,
Mm-hmm.
It's like to not have to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. And I haven't used the archive feature yet. It's great to know it's there. I've tended to just try and download it to the files on my phone or my laptop, wherever I am.
Yeah, you can do both.
The ones I want to keep, or the ones that I've downloaded, I should say, are the ones where I had to take action on right away. There was a piece of paper that I needed to send off to my accountant, all that sort of stuff. So, but to your point, yeah, it's good to know. It's a good thing to have in the back pocket to know that archive system is there. So, but that brings us to the features. So let's talk for a second about what the options are. I know not every vendor you work with or partner has each of these sort of features, but run down the list for me of the things that can be done with somebody's mail the minute it arrives to your Anytime Mailbox.
So I'm going to open up my app and I'll just tell you. So a piece of mail comes in, and what they'll do is they'll actually take a picture of the front of the envelope and they'll notify you that says, hey, you have a piece of mail. And you'll usually get that notification in the app, but also in your email. So if you're not checking the app all the time, which I don't do, I'm like, oh yeah, let me look at the email. And then I go in and I click on it. And then I say, okay, this is clearly something that I want to see. So I'll request a little open and scan, and they'll usually take us about a day, and they'll open and scan all the pages, and then you'll get another notification that says your request has been completed, and you'll be like, okay, now what do I want to do with it? So at that point, you need to tell them the next step. So you can say, hey, I want you to recycle it, shred it, archive it, forward it, whatever. So it's not just sitting there collecting storage fees, because a lot of these mailbox companies, our partners are small, right? They don't have a lot of space, right? And so you want to make sure that whatever they have, they're not holding on to, because they need to charge, for that, the inventory that's sitting in their store. So you can either open and scan it. You can tell them, hey, I really need this thing. I need this package forwarded to me. So you can have them forwarded. You can, in the forwarding request, you can put where to send it to. You can ask for quotes. You can say, hey, I really want you to send it next day, or send it the cheapest way. So you can actually go in and decide what those are, and then they'll charge you a handling fee, because it does take somebody to repackage it into another envelope or something else, and then they'll just charge you whatever that fee is. And then you can pick it up. So a lot of times for me, I'll schedule a pickup. So I'll get something and I'll go to the app and I say, I'm going to pick it up. And it'll say, okay, you can pick it up within these hours for the next week. And if you don't pick it up, it just kind of goes back into the queue. And then you can tell them when you want to pick it up again.
Right.
Most of our operating partners do offer free pickup. Some of them charge. Some of them don't offer it at all. It just depends on the type of operating partner they are. Yeah. So when you are looking for, and that's why I asked you, I said, is that something you want to do? We can filter out trying to find the best partner for you on what you're doing as well. So they also recycle and shred it. So what's the difference? Recycle is, let's just throw it in the trash, and shredded means they're actually going to put it through a shredder if it's some document that that you don't want anybody ever to see again.
Yeah.
Some of our partners actually offer check deposit. We're still working on making that better and more streamlined, but there are some that do offer that. There are people who travel, internationally. There's people who need those services that need to have something deposited for them. So it's just kind of peace of mind. I think a lot of what people did in the past, right, is that asked their family member, hey, can you go over and pick up my mail? Even my neighbors are like, hey, can you pull the mail out of the mailbox? Or,
yeah, totally.
There's not a lot of that stuff anymore. Or your parents do it. You're like, oh, I don't want my parents to see my mail, right?
Right.
So I think the service is really great for young people too, because it gets them away from their parents' house. It gets them everything's coming to their phone. They're responsible for their stuff. I'm actually going to get a mailbox for Lola for her, because, waiting for the school to notify them of a piece of mail or something. Yeah. This is actually a way better service. So,
oh yeah, I would say. Mia has not had particularly fantastic results at the University of Utah. She'll get the notifications. It'll be a day or two. It's kind of like Denise and I will be like, "Did you get your package? Did you get your package?" She's like, "No notification yet." And so to your point, yeah. Since you guys are specialists in this, I can't imagine that any campus mailroom is going to do it better than you're doing it.
I also like one of Lola's friends who went to Louisville. She's at NYU. I saw her over the summer. She's like, I got an apartment, but unfortunately, all my mail and my packages keep getting stolen. And it's like, well, you need an Anytime Mailbox, because guess what? All your packages go to a safe place. Yeah. They notify you. You go pick it up. Just find one in your neighborhood that's by your house, and you'll never lose a package. There's so many package thieves like on my ring all the time. It's like a package thief, Yeah. It really makes it smarter because it's going to something that's manned during the business hours, and they put it safely away for you, and then you get notified. So I think it's a great service. I love being a customer. I'm so happy that you are a happy customer. We have a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, I believe it. I love my favorite aspect really is that first notification where you get a thumbnail of what it is that it's arrived. And for me, I'm like, oh, I know that's junk. You can toss that. You just recycle that, right? Don't even open the envelope. Don't even bother with it, and to be able to sift through it, frankly, as if I were standing over the garbage can myself is really, it's really awesome. A good service. So, I can't say enough about it. And like I said, it's given me a level of comfort that, for those items that, I'm still incorporated in the state of California. I still have my sort of footprint there, all of my union stuff for television, all of my healthcare stuff, like we talked about, my accountant, all that stuff. It's like, I'm still like, it's been pretty seamless so far. Are there any sort of industries, like, are there any, like, I don't know, I'm guessing like auto insurance issues or anything like that? Like, is there anything where you've seen sort of, it's been a pitfall when somebody's tried to get their mail delivered to Anytime Mailbox?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I haven't really seen too much of that. I'd have to ask my staff, but no, it's just, sometimes it takes a little bit. Sometimes some partners are busier than others, and especially during the holiday season where there's people lined up to mail. So there can be a little bit of lag with scanning sometimes, but it's not often. And my team, they'll call, you would call and we would, help sort it out. The nice thing about our business compared to our competitors is that I have a team of people from 6 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday, like live people.
Yeah.
The value of a live customer support person is so awesome. I am the person who likes to call. Like, I hate live chat. I'm like, just give me a person, and that's just me, but then there are people who like live chat. So, the fact that if there is any kind of issue, they're going to be helped, know, and I also have a whole team of people who do tickets. So you send an email, We usually get back to them within 24, 36 hours,
Right.
if not sooner, so yes. Are there some problems? Are there some issues? Everybody's got, something, or there's some
Sure.
random thing that's happened, but we really care about people's experience, and we try to make everything right, and that's the goal is that.
Right. I asked because, there were a couple times as we were on the road and sort of changing addresses or what have you for some of our personal items. And just knowing for me personally that my Anytime Mailbox is mostly predominantly a business address. There were a couple of times where, the customer service rep on the other line was like, was this a business address? And I would just say, yeah. And then there'd be this pause and it'd be like, okay. And they would enter it. And, it's been 8 weeks now. I've received a couple pieces of mail from both of the places I'm thinking about off the top of my head, where it was like, it was maybe a situation where like we're talking license plates, auto insurance, things like that. Is this going to be an issue? And the short answer is so far, none. So, it's that part's been fantastic. I love the fact that, and I think just to like really drive it home for the listener is, what's the difference between this and a pack and ship? For me personally, it's like a pack and ship on steroids, because it's as if I have the guy who's working at this place receiving my mail, calling me right away or texting. I don't like phone calls. I'm not like you, Nathalie. I'm sorry. But I like the app. But somebody's notifying me right away. And it's just basically the same as saying, hey, Mr. Gordon, what do you want me to do with this stuff? And to be able to sort of have somebody, it sounds a little intrusive in a way where it's like, okay, somebody's sifting through my mail, but it's not really the case unless I tell them to actually sift through my mail. And frankly, if you're trying to run a business, it's a lot cheaper than hiring a personal assistant to go down there and get your mail for you at the package ship. So
absolutely,
it's going to open it for you anyway. So now it's like, Jeremy in the office all of a sudden knows all your business. It's like, I don't know. For me personally, I've liked the fact that it's anonymous on the other end. Like I said, there's nothing so, I'm not hiding documents in my basement or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing nefarious in what I do. It's frankly really mundane and boring. And so for me, it's been a tremendous value just to have somebody say, hey, do you want this thing that your insurance company sent you? No, I don't. Just recycle it. Don't even open it,
Well, I think a lot of our users are business users, because when you sign up, like I started a little jewelry business on the side as a side hustle, but when you sign up for a business, the first thing you have to do is go down to, I went to the Van Nuys courthouse and I filed a DBA. So when you're filing a DBA, you have to put your address. You don't really want to put your home address because that becomes public records. You want to put, a business address. And it's a side hustle. I'm not going to open an office, I'm going to doing it, at my house, right? So you start doing, you start using that as your business address. On my website, I'm not putting my home address. You have to put your business address. You also have to, when you're shipping things out, you don't want your home address. Again,
absolutely not. Yeah.
So, even my neighbor who does like podcasts and he does this like online gaming podcast, people want to send him games and stuff, he doesn't want random people to know where he lives. It's like having a mailbox, is really great to just kind of like, get away from sharing your home address. It's just safer, in general. Right. So a lot of people started side hustles during COVID, a lot of people. Yeah. And so it's been, another reason why our business, got a bit bigger, because we have people starting little businesses. And it's just a smart thing to do.
That's right. Everybody's got to unload that sourdough bread.
I remember trying to get yeast for months from
Oh my God, mine was so tragic. It sucked. I ended up making beer bread just because it's so fast. There was no fermentation process. Denise is like, this is really great beer bread, but your sourdough, I don't think that culture is going in. It was green within like 5 days. So it was like,
That's funny.
I don't think sourdough's happening for me. So it was a Facebook fail.
We all tried it, right? We had lots of time on our hands.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So
for
it was
sure.
good.
So,
I did not have lots of time, but it was
I imagine,
good.
I imagine you didn't. You were probably fielding a lot. You're fielding a lot of calls and doing a lot of marketing and getting a lot of, places set up. So, well, like I said, I highly endorse Anytime Mailbox for anybody who is looking for the reasons you mentioned: security, address anonymity, ease, efficiency, all those things, to definitely check you guys out. I know we are talking at some point about setting up some sort of affiliation with our podcast. And so more to come on that. I just, I, for the sake of all the red tape that I have to deal with on the day in and day out, I'm really, really glad you mentioned to Denise that you do this, because had you not, I may not have ever found you. So I'm happy to spread the gospel for you.
Thank you. I thank you. I really love my job. I love the product that we offer. And talking to you and seeing people who actually use the service makes me really happy and joyful. And, that's in the big picture. I just want people to be happy. And I'm glad that, you're getting a lot out of it. So yay.
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that is Nathalie Shroeder with Anytime Mailbox. Any parting thoughts for our audience, Nathalie?
Just, I don't know. Just keep using the service and keep going. I can't wait to actually watch what your episode is next as you go through. I think you guys are in Texas, right? Like
moment,
what the other half of the country is, because I'm really not familiar with that side of the country.
Right.
So really, really excited for you to get into that. But parting is thanks for having me on the show, and really, really enjoy talking to you. And I love that not only are you just really easy to talk to, but you're super techie, and I'm all about, techie people.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely all about the apps and the live chats. Trust me.
Yeah. Those make me happy. That makes me happy. Because people really get it. A lot of people, I have to say, who aren't super techie, the first thing they think of is, oh, I don't want anybody opening my mail. Right. That's like the first question I get every time. And I'm like, this is the future. This is the future. And not everybody's going to sit. They have so much to scan. They're not going to sit and read your mail. They're going to scan it and move on. Come on.
Like, I don't care. I don't care that this, I don't care that this guy needed eye drops from his doctor, kind of stuff.
They don't care. They're just doing their job. So
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you're on board, and hopefully, people will start thinking, after watching this, really understand what this is about, and know that there is a virtual mailbox for them. And it's really not expensive.
No.
It's, pretty cheap.
Yeah, I think for me, mine, for what I wanted, it was just a couple $100 a year. So, and I think we've probably done a disservice by not mentioning that up until this point. It's super cost effective, people. When I say it's cheaper than a personal assistant, I'm not lying. Like, I think all in, even if I'm over scanning everything for the rest of the year, like I'm continuing to do, I think it's going to cost me less than $350 for a calendar year. So, that in and of itself is just huge. And like I said, there's, who else is going to scan documents for you and deliver them to your phone for less than $10 a page or whatever it is? It's like, I challenge you.
Yep.
Absolutely. I challenge you to find a better service if you're on the road, for sure.
Yep. For sure. Yeah. Well, thanks again. And looking forward to watching all your adventures. I'm halfway through the Parker one.
Oh, you are?
Well, started it yesterday. Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you
for
let you know what and supporting us. Texas is going to be a hoot. I got to tell you, like we have a lot of stories I've got a lot to say about Texas, and some of it will be surprising because I've actually really liked it here. So, coming from California,
I have a lot of yeah, I'm super liberal. I have a lot of liberal friends who moved to Texas and they're really happy, you know, there. But I couldn't live. I'm sorry. I just couldn't.
It's tough. It's tough in the political climate. I mean, that's like still going to be the big, that's the big strikeout for us. But
yeah,
whatever turns blue, man, I'm happy to continue the wave. It's
what's your favorite Texas town so far?
We actually stayed in a town called New Braunfels. It's south of Austin. It's between Austin and San Antonio. It's a little suburb. There's a water park there and everything. But right next door is a place called Canyon Lake. And I went to visit that. We had a down day. We were there for like 2 days. And we were in a really great Airbnb. Our Airbnb right now is great here in Corpus Christi, but the one there was also fantastic. I really like that area. I thought it was like kind of the sweet spot between two good cities, two big airports. Austin's great, but there's so much traffic. It's like, it's like a smaller version of LA.
Yeah.
And sure, the barbecue's better and all that other stuff, but there's a lot of people there. Austin is a pretty city, though.
I like Austin.
Yeah, I can handle doing the suburbs around there or whatever. Denise is like, no, it's too much. It's too much. So we found something our way.
Are you going through the Carolinas at all? Because my aunt lives in North Carolina. I just was there a couple years ago. It's beautiful.
So we camped. We didn't camp. We stayed for a week in a cabin in Bryson City. North Carolina. And the short answer to your question is yes, because I haven't really revealed this yet, but I worked in Knoxville for 3 weeks once, and this company almost got me to leave LA.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like 10, 12 years ago. And I'm glad I didn't do it. It was longer than that. I guess it was about 13 years. It was like right as the financial crisis was hitting. So 2008. So it's like 14 years. But so you have the Smoky Mountain National Park, and then right on the other side. So if you go through Pigeon Forge and all that in Tennessee, and then right on the other side is Bryson City and the Nathale River. Not right on the other side, but we've heard great things about Asheville and all that other stuff. So that region, I should say, like I loved Knoxville when I was there. I thought it was a great version of Nashville, smaller, music everywhere, all that stuff. I thought it was a great town, and I really liked, although I think it's probably a little too remote for Denise, Bryson City and that whole sort of western part of North Carolina. So she would want to move closer to Asheville. But yes, it's like North Carolina is like in my top 5 right now. So
yeah, I really like. My aunt lives in Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay.
So which is more of a sleepier way, and my cousin lives like closer to Winston.
Okay.
So I know that's a little bit more exciting, and then of course there's all those places, but I don't think I could live there again. I don't know. I love California.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It's funny. We love it too. I don't feel like we could retire there comfortably, No, we can't either. We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat. I don't know where we would end up. I think we're going to hit that where you guys are in about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And then really relook at everything and say, okay, now what, right? Lola's through college. Right. What are we going to do? Right. Well, it's a shame because, if you go up toward so we found houses where we're like, okay, like price wise, we can afford them, but they're all up toward Humboldt and it's all like meth central up there. And Eureka is fine-ish now, I guess. But we went through Garberville. We went through, I forget the name, Del Rio or something like that. It was just like the minute it got dark, it got scary. So,
yeah, no.
But, it's a shame because it's Northern California. It's like you have the redwoods everywhere. It's so beautiful,
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If I could choose anywhere, I'd probably want to live in like Santa Barbara, but who can afford that, right?
No, I know. I had a buddy that moved there like 15 years ago, and now he's totally great and everything, but he bought there at a time. It was weird. He was traveling down a couple hours every week, working like 3 or 4 days straight, staying with a friend, and then driving back up to see his family. But now I'm sure he's really glad he bought that house when he did, especially now that he can work from there.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? What did we know when we were in our 30s or late, almost 40s, right? I wish I would have done more.
Yeah. We love Ventura County now. It's just, I don't know.
Oxnard is awesome.
I know. Where we lived in, we lived in basically West Van Nuys, which was like, we lived right where Reseda, where we live.
Yeah.
Right?
I drove to your house all the time.
Yeah. And so it's like seeing encampments under the 101 freeway on White Oak Boulevard. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what is going on in this city? And so that part's rough. I think it'll get better with a new mayor. Even though I'm a Democrat, I was not a huge Garcetti fan. So
it's a little scary. The whole thing is a little scary. I think for me, because I grew up in Salt Lake and it was really white, and I just went to Salt Lake and it was still really white.
It's pretty white there. Yeah,
it's pretty white.
Especially the minute you get out of the city limits, it's like
holy crap!
Right everywhere.
I just love that there's people all different. California is all different races, all different kinds of food. I'm such a foodie. Yeah. And the fact that Lola got to go to school with 2 daddy families, 2 mommy families, and it was normal. Yeah. It wasn't anything weird. Like, right. I love that. That's the stuff that gets me. That's like, everybody's kind of inclusive, right? Like everybody's together and there's all different kinds of backgrounds and religions and all of that stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that because, we've been primarily through red states other than Washington and Oregon, and New Mexico was blue. I guess we're running 50-50 at this point, but there's so many, like I shot really great footage in Idaho City and Salt Lake and Zion and all these places. And it's really pretty. And it's like, hey, look, this could be your backyard kind of thing or whatever. But it wasn't until really we got to Texas a couple weeks ago where I was like, it's easy for me to say because, I'm a white boy from the sticks in Ohio. And it's like, I can roam around and do whatever the hell I want in this country, sort of unfettered. And it did dawn on me. It's like for my black friends, no wonder they're not as inclined to move to Idaho. You know what I mean? It's like the minute you get outside of the Boise city limits, forget it, man. It's all insurrectionists and white nationalists and all that stuff. They all those guys got arrested for climbing out of a U-Haul, planning to start shit at a pride parade in Coeur d'Alene. So it was like, and it's like, there was a moment where I was like, James, like read the room. You know what I mean? It's like, we gotta so Denise and I have actually been talking about it. We're going to start tailoring our message more to that kind of stuff. I think it's more important, and we don't want to just be like, hey, here's a bunch of white boy places you can live if you're white. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not what we want the gist of our podcast to be. So,
I think as you go through it and it's going to evolve, just like, my little side hustle, it evolves into something, really cool. Like you're experiencing so many cool things. And so you guys will figure it out.
Denise is here.
Denise back.
We're done.
Yay!
Say hi to, I told her about the van.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. We just got to figure this situation out. They gave me a car. It's just not going to fit everything, but it's okay. Like it's, we're on a trip across the country. These things are going to happen. You look great, by the way. You look great.
Thank you.
I love your background too. That's really
I know.
Yeah, I love it.
We have a great marketing team. They do that. So are you going to be able to stay? You have to stay there till you get your car fixed, or?
I have to. The girl gave me a car at the airport. I was grateful that she gave me one. They didn't have any, and there was 3 rental car companies, and they couldn't give me a car either. So we have a car. I'm just going to eat lunch and then figure out how we're going to get a minivan, because I just don't think that it's a nice car. It's a Toyota 4Runner. It's brand new, but
we're
going to fit everything in it. And so I don't know. How get it, and we'll decide. The seats don't come down. So I don't know.
We're going to spend the rest of the afternoon playing Tetris.
Yeah. So
that's my favorite game, Tetris.
So all that to say, we have a car and I'm grateful. We may have to stay for another day or two to get a minivan. Those seem to be very hard to come by. So I don't know.
Perfect.
But you guys are in a rush, right?
No, not
really. Not now. No. I mean, we got done with our trip to Louisville and Ellie getting Ellie situated in Seattle, getting Mia situated in Salt Lake were like the big deadline type things, the moving days and all that. But everything else has been like sort of
You
like.
probably should have sat this way from the sun because you are all shadowed in this whole Zoom.
I know.
Not good. Not a good.
Well, there aren't like many. I don't know.
You probably should have sat that way.
It's fine. He looks fine. From my angle, you're fine. You're good. I like that there's like a Zen thing on the Zen behind.
Yeah, we're in the Zen.
We're the Zen Palace.
Zen
Escape. It's called the Zen Garden Airbnb. It's amazing.
Corpus Christi.
God, it's amazing. The guys that own it are so good at everything. Like they make it very homey. Like I don't want to leave. It's so good. Yeah.
Well, you can stay another couple of extra days and relax and get yourself.
We may have to.
Yeah.
The universe is speaking, right? The universe.
True.
Maybe.
It's true.
Yeah.
Good to see you,
James. It was good to see you, honey, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like talking to you. We could talk for hours.
I know we could. We totally could. But I know one of us has a job to do the rest of the day.
And I didn't realize you were from Ohio. I didn't realize you're a Midwest boy.
Yeah, I'm from
I married a Midwest boy.
You did?
My husband's from Wisconsin. Yeah.
Oh, no way. Right on.
Yeah. I married a white boy from Wisconsin.
There you go. There you go.
The Midwest guys are just nice. I'm like, Lola, you got to find a nice.
That's true.
Midwest
We
boy.
are nice. We are nice.
When are you guys coming back to LA?
We'll be back during the holidays for sure. Denise may be back sooner. I'm not sure. She's trying to figure out, she just sort of like, I think in 2 weeks when we're at my brother-in-law's house, Denise is going to, have time to revisit what she's doing with face permanent makeup and all that stuff. So right now it was just a decision tabled.
Well, I promise you guys, when you come back and you have to hold me to it, I will cook you guys a Thai meal.
Yeah.
A home cooked Thai food meal. Okay. And then we can see each other in person.
A home cooked meal would be amazing. We haven't had too many of those, trust me.
Yeah. So please stay in touch with me there. And then as far as getting you set up for the affiliate program, I had Asia. I don't know if she sent it to you yet. We're just trying a new software for all our affiliates. So we just launching it this week. So it's kind of good timing. Yeah. And so getting you set up for that, then you can have a link. And hopefully this opens a door for more of this kind of stuff, because what you're doing, a lot of people are doing, and a lot of people are actually making good money just doing this, like your TikTok, and you have a following, and then you become, we're getting you at the beginning. So I feel very blessed and lucky that we get you at the beginning. Thank you guys so much.
This was awesome. Thank you. This is my second Zoom. It went a lot smoother than my first. Thank you. It's because of you.
I'm on Zoom all the time. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Have a great one.
Nathalie. Thank you.
Bye.
And that was our episode with Nathalie Shroeder. We are so grateful she took the time to sit with me today. If you liked what you heard, head on over to skiptownallstars.com/anytime. That's skiptownallstars.com/anytime to see what Anytime Mailbox can do for you. Thank you so much, listeners. We could not have gotten to a sponsor this quickly without your support. We appreciate all of your input on social media. We appreciate all of your interactions on YouTube and all of your downloads on all the streaming platforms. So humbled, so incredibly humbled by everything you guys have thrown our way in terms of positive energy. Let's keep these wheels rolling, huh? Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.